Hey, folks, welcome. It is a beautiful day outside. It almost feels like, Goldilocks weather. Just not too hot, not too cold, just perfect and sunny outside. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your July and a happy Canada Day for those that were, celebrating it yesterday. And I imagine everybody has been. So, Phoenix Business Exchange, that's where we're at right now, East End Edition, and one of three groups. And I'm just going to share with you the website. And so it's pbx.ca. And you know what? Come on in. If you're watching this, roll on in. Member of the week, Jacqueline Richards. She helps you find mortgages. So let's say you got a hold of Wendy Chung to buy your house, or you're looking to buy a house and you're going, how much money can I spend? Jacqueline's the other part of the equation. She'll roll in and tell you, hey, this is how it's going to work out. And then, later on, if you're established as a family, Redmond can come along and say, hey, you should get your will orientated and set that up, and get things lined up. So that way you're, if things take a worse turn for the worse, or you just need to map out your estate. And meanwhile, there's always Sam who'll help you put brakes on things and not stop you, but when you want to stop, he'll help you stop. So you'll see these little red squares right here. Visit any of our 4 chapters. Monday mornings, 8 to 9 Eastern, Bell's Corners. Today, obviously, it's 8 to 9 and East End edition. And we have the South End group meeting tomorrow, 8 to 9. July 8th, next week, Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. We're also hosting a after hours group. It's about staying accountable, staying on track, and Penny Prevost hosts that group. East Trade Winds. We did not meet yesterday because, hey, it was a holiday. But next week, July 8th, we are meeting. And you're more than welcome to come on in. There's no charge. Get to meet people across Canada and overseas. Tuning in with Tony. So if you had a stressed week, or even if you had a week where you want to keep that mellow yellow mode going, click here. It's July 4th at 1:30 p.m. And a sound bathing event, July 30th, is happening at 7 p.m. It's an event on Zoom, and Tony will help you get calm, super calm. Terry Black has a pre-planning workshop, July 3rd. That is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Penally's got the movement is medicine with NIA classes, and there's a whole section of classes in there. So if your mind's nice and meditated, may as well have your body get meditated too. There's a potluck, and that's on July 11th at 6:30 p.m. That's in person though. Can't do that by Zoom. I don't know if you get the casserole through the ether that way. South End group is meeting in person on July 24th. So that is the Thursday morning group, no Zoom, 7:30 in person at River Lounge. Here's somebody talking today and you go, I want to find out more about them. Click the QR directory for all the members inside Phoenix. And you'll see the QR code over my shoulder. And that's what that's all about. It's a quick and easy way either to scan the QR code, or there's a link that gives you all the quick contact details for any person that you want to know more about. It reduces the friction, and it's part of the membership of being a Phoenix Business Exchange member. Canada Food Cupboard is who we're supporting for the golf tournament, September 4th. More details to come. Your e-cards. So that's that QR code again. 2,092 times people have used our QR codes collectively to find us. So that should tell you that it's leveraging well. We've done over $4.9 million worth of business since a year to date. That'd be really awesome, right? But $4.9 million worth of business since January 2016, almost $5 million worth of business just between the members. Year to date, it's 127,755. Quick reminder, if you're a Phoenix member, send your stats to Tony so he can update the information in that chart. All right, and I'm going to stop the share, and Tony's got a educational moment to have a chat with us. And Tony, the helm is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, Bernie. One thing I love is that looking at things in a very different way. That's why people come to me personally, but as that part of an education, there is no such thing as failure or disappointment. And what I mean by that is that it is all time factor. It is all time release. It has an expiration date. And so if you have a failure, or something that didn't work out, something that went sideways at the last minute, if you were to journal that, put that in a list, So if you were to take, let's say, a list and then have 3 lines. On the first line, you would put what happened. Oh, I didn't get the job that I wanted. Or something happened to the kids. They wanted to get into a certain university or something, and it didn't happen. And so you put that down as a momentary disappointment. Then a month later, underneath that, you would just simply put what you learned from that experience. So the job that you didn't get. Well, what I learned was I was able to had to go through my CV and update that, and only then did I realize all the extra. When I updated everything, I realized that I had new skills because I hadn't been on the job market for a long time, and with all the extra training that I got, with the extra experience that I got in things, it made your CV look better. All right. And then about 3 months after that, underneath that, is that what good thing happened from the first thing, losing a job. Then you basically went through your CV, and then you found out that you got a job that was better and pays more money. So then when you put down what great thing happened because of that, you looked at it was, okay, that was, that kind of was good in that way. I had one instance in my own life where in grade 7, and this is the time in my own life where if you didn't make it, if you didn't have a good grade, they would actually fail you, and you would have to repeat the year. And when when that happened, it was devastating. It was a major failure. So all my friends went into grade 8, and I had to stay in grade 7, and face to face with the grade 6ers that all passed. And so that was a big disappointment. I would think that was a big failure in my life. So when I looked at it that way, but when I looked at it when I started school, I had to do a lot more presentations. I was a really severe person that stammered a lot and was stammering, and it was just hard for me to communicate. Sometimes it would take me a long time to say one word. And so the presentations that we did, we had to do one every week. And that's something that I never had in any of the classes that I was in. And as I started doing more and more of them, I got better. And so the good part of that is that what I learned was I learned how to be able to formulate my words and other things regarding speech. And then, but 3 months after that, it was the end of the semester, I ended up doing so well, and I hit straight A's in everything, is that by the second semester, I had passed from grade 7 then to grade 8, and I skipped a grade, I guess, technically. And that has never happened. So it was almost a good thing that I failed in that way, or at the time, because I learned so much, and that it actually brought something out of me that I didn't expect. And normally those kind of challenges do bring things out of you that you really want, because I felt like I disappointed my parents, I disappointed my family, and it was quite a shock. But when I skipped, it was the exact opposite. It was a huge celebration. So when you look at things as a disappointment or a failure, realize it has a timeline. There is an expiration date. So we just don't know that. We don't know that it's going to go to the next figure. But, universe is amazing. It always corrects something in a way that in the beginning will look like, oh, wow, I can't believe that went sideways. It was totally not something I expected. But then when you looked at what you learned and then the benefit in it, why it happened, and what brought out something in you that was good, there's always something. That's why there's no such thing as failure. Failure should be something that is times believed. In other words, 20 years later, it should still be a failure. But most times, in fact, all the times, if you looked at it in a different way, you'll find that it was a benefit. And what the masses do is that they look at all of their failures and they put that in a journal. I didn't get the job. I didn't get picked for the cheerleading team or the basketball team. I didn't. I lost a love that I really wanted. Sue Smith basically ended our relationship, and it was total side. Maybe there's something about me. That's what people hold on to, and that becomes your identity, and then you're stuck with that. But if you break it down into all those segments and why it didn't happen, what you learned, and what good came from it, then all of a sudden you now have a journal of all the great things that happened. Because of the speech, I was able to do this and that and the other thing. So I really thank that person for failing me because they did me a great service. When a person leaves you in a relationship and they turn out to be something other than what you thought, it says, "Oh wow, I really dodged a bullet." But at the time, I was devastated. You see what I mean? In other words, look at things in a temporary form. Something happened. Oh, great. That means something better is coming. Back to you, Bernie.
Tony, thank you so much. And we're live on LinkedIn. So that is the uh, path to follow. Just place it inside the chat. And so we're going to start off with Wendy and then Redmond. Wendy, what's been happening in your weekend? Yo, what's going on?
Good morning, everyone, and happy Canada Day weekend. The weather is beautiful. I just wanted to say to everyone, it's kind of like almost like a new start of the summertime, right? Where the humidity is gone and some of the pressure is lifted. It seems that a lot of people are very complex these days. There's so many things going on in their minds. And it's no different in real estate where there's a lot of pressure, people buying and selling. Am I going to find the right place? Am I going to get a good price for my home? So I work very closely with my clients. And the reason for that is because people want to be supported. And I find that a lot of my clients, they come to me because they're looking for that support and guidance. And I do really care about every single client that I work with. And every situation is unique in that everyone's wants and needs are different. So I approach every single client with a different path, I guess you could say. I recently met a couple from the West End that are looking to move to the East End. And I met them at one of my open houses. And it's taken a while for me to build that relationship with them because in my business, it's all about the relationship and building that trust. And it was interesting because just the other day, they sent me an email in the morning and said, "I wonder if it's possible for you to show us this house. We visited at an open house, but we would really like your opinion." So to me, it meant that they were reaching out again because we are building that trust. So again, working with people means, you're devoting a lot of time and effort into building that relationship. And I think that that's where the success lies, is in that relationship building. So I am very proud to have been in this business for almost 16 years now. So if you know of anyone that's looking for some real estate guidance, please think of me, Wendy Chung, real estate broker with Century 21 Synergy, one of the team leads at the Ottawa Housing Condo Group. Thank you. I don't have any BAMs to report, but I do have ongoing business with Susan Epps and also with Brenda Lee. I did reach out to her earlier in the week. I had some things to donate, but unfortunately, the items that I was donating were not going to be useful for the people that she is servicing. But I will continue to find more and more items that I can then redonate to other organizations. Thank you very much.
Wendy, thank you so much. And so if you know somebody that is in the auto signage wrap, not singing to the car, but wrapping the cars, we would like to have them reach out to Penny Lee because we have need for it. Redmond, what's going on in your day, sir?
Oh, hi, Bernie. Thanks, and hi, everyone. Uh, Reverend O'Brien here with Redondo Lawyers Professional Corporation. So, in our how things are with us right now, it's so we're a smaller law firm focusing on family law, wills and estates, real estate law, personal injury law, and immigration law as well. It's still going forward, business as usual, as we're discussing before. There's a little bit of a slowdown, I'd say, in the summer with the family law files because the courts at least are slowing down with that. The trials are, if there's ever a trial in a matter, it's heard in June or in September, November, January. There's just some information on that. So I think that you take account of the summertime to people are on vacation in that sense. But we're all about just picking up on what Wendy you're saying, and is about the relationship with clients. And it's great to hear and to continue to try to adopt some of the messages from members here at Phoenix. So it's good learning for me in that sense. And so when there's somebody who comes to us and has if they're undergoing a separation or divorce and they're looking to have advice on how to take care of their children going forward, it's just being difficult to have those arrangements set. Who's going to be making the decisions? Is going to be joint on the major decisions for those children. That's where we're there to provide the advice, to provide counsel, and really to help them move forward. And court again is really a last resort because it's kind of there's a loss of control to people in a very difficult time sometimes. And with wills and powers of attorney, I do focus on those legal services a lot as well, and family law is the main one. So again, it's a lot about listening to our clients and trying to see what their goals are, and to continually go back to that. The goals can change, of course, and just providing them with options and advice, and then taking their instructions on how to go forward in family law, wills and estates. Odette Ragon Lawyers Professional Corporation, protecting your rights is our priority. I don't have any BAMs right now, but I would like to look into some of so continue to provide some clothing to donate to Brenda Lee, and perhaps reach out to Susan Ebbs and Sam as well. Could reach out to you about my car just needing to be looked into, and if it's something that you'd handle or passing it on to somebody as well. Thanks.
Redmond, thank you so much. And so East Trade Winds is one part I want to share with you guys, and that is every Tuesday, free to attend. That is the Zoom link to roll on in. The other part is the Canada Food Cupboard and the golf tournament. It's on September 4th at 2:30 in the afternoon. It's 9 holes, cart, best ball. So if you're not a golfer, it's okay. If you are a golfer, all the better. One in the team of the 4 can hit the ball. That's what counts. Then the game moves along. Tony, what's going on in your universe?
Thank you very much there, Bernie. And yeah, Redmond, I'm pretty sure that Sam also takes care of, Ferraris and Lamborghinis, so he'll take care of your car, no problem.
No, thanks.
You can just see the lawyers, they move fast. That's great. Right. All right. Hi, everybody. Tony Jennis from Higher Self. I'm the spirit guy of the group. I give readings to people that are looking. And I had a conversation with a client yesterday, and it just totally surprises me. Maybe I'm thinking this from a human perspective, but when a person is making an investment and they're not sure how it's going to go, would it make sense to get the reading first and then make the investment? Because I had one yesterday. They said they invested a bunch of money and then I wanted to get a reading done to see if it was okay. And I said, absolutely not. Oh, okay, that was anti-productive. And this is the second time this person has done it. So it's their process. So I'm not judging or anything, but I just find it from a human perspective, why you would let the horse out of the barn and then close the door, The idea there is if you are going through something, whatever it is, whether it's an investment, you're expanding your business, you're making life-changing decisions, which is great to do it from a research basis, looking at all the factors, that's great. But just add, what does Spirit think about this? Because they have a vast knowledge. They know all your anatomy. They know everything about the stock market. I know nothing about any of those things. But it's amazing how bang on they are when a person says you need more salt and you're down in zinc. I don't even know what that means. But it's the energies that are saying that when they check into it, that's exactly what the doctors say. So, of course, after every reading, it's always good to consult with a doctor or a healthcare professional just to validate that, to make sure it is on the track. But at least get that reading so you know you're going in with something. Had one about 3 weeks ago where they were going into a partnership, and this is one of the things that it's always good when you're a friend with somebody. Everything goes great, but it's very different, and I'm pretty sure that Redmond will agree with me on this. When it comes to money, people change. They do change. Their family change because all of a sudden nobody even visited you, and then for decades and decades, and then when somebody dies and there is an inheritance, boy, those people come out of the woodwork, don't they? It's like if there's something in it for them, they're always there, and then they say, well, I was best friends with them. I did send them an email 14 years ago, so we're in contact. So it's always good to be able to get a perspective of how Spirit looks at things, because this way you could go into it with an open mind. This partnership that was about to happen, I said the partnership is okay as long as you're okay doing 90% of the work, because the other person won't. I don't even know the other person. Most time I don't need to know, but I can just see a balance of effort, and then they'll still want 50% of everything else. So if you're okay with that, and they said absolutely not, and it says okay, well then that might be something to talk about. Get yourself a lawyer, get yourself somebody that, and I do know of one if you need one. And I would have suggested Redmond or somebody in his office to do that. But if you're doing a partnership, at least you have that in mind, and it's part of the clause. But if you go into it blindly and it's not in there, then yeah, they own 50%, and they don't. It's so. It's a nice caveat. It's a nice way to walk into a meeting knowing that there's 2 or 3 things that may not be in the contract, or something that will benefit you, or is just fair. That's what we all the people want. I don't think they're looking at getting out to anybody, but they just want something that's fair and that makes sense. Not something interpreted or something that was omitted, and then they just think they can capitalize on that omission, right? So, Tony Jennis from Higher Self, we are here to raise your spirits. Back to you, Bernie. Oh, as far as business goes, I did some business with Dwight and Susan McGarry, ongoing business with Eric Senego, and I sent a referral where I'm just in the process of sending a referral to Redmond. We're going to sit down and we're going to do a will and stuff, so we'll nail down a time. So, back to you, Bernie.
Tony, thank you so much. So, Creative Insight, we talk to people. We talk to people throughout the globe, actually, and it's business networking and having chats with people and finding out, what do you need? And do you need a will? You're in Ottawa? I know a guy. Do you need to buy a house? Oh, I know a lady. Good people, and that's part of the deal. I also have a podcast called Knack for Business. Lots of people. We've chatted with lots of people. We just finished season 3, 179 podcasts, and it's a good workout. And there's 179 stories out there, and all different things, different flavors of things. So cherry pick what you need. Anything from marketing to legal understanding to accounting. And East Trade Winds, that's another space. A lot of the people that I run into for podcasts, I end up inviting into the East Trade Winds also to speak for 10 minutes. And they all have words of wisdom to share. And speaking of words of wisdom to share, then there's also the At Hive place, and it's another area to promote. It's a good place to meet, central to Ottawa. $40 a year subscription for the year get you access to renting a room for an office space, or a workspace, or a conference space. Anyhow, I'm going to stop there, because you know what? We're going to turbocharge into the next speaker, Master Sam Storrs. Spinner up, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Bernie. Happy post-Canada Day celebrations, everyone. I hope you had a good time yesterday, whatever you were doing. Sam Storrs, connectedcars.ca. That's my business. I think I just posted my contact information in the chat. And yes, today we're going to talk about turbocharged engines. And the reason why I want to talk about turbocharged engines is because they're becoming more and more popular. And there's a good reason why they're becoming more and more popular is because, well, manufacturers can put a small engine into a bigger vehicle and get the same horsepower out, and they can advertise that they get great gas mileage. Well, great gas mileage because you're not using the turbo. If you use the turbo, you're going to get the same or even worse gas mileage. So maybe they haven't told you that. Other things maybe they haven't told you is how to take care of a turbocharged engine, because if you don't take care of them, and they have some particular issues, you're going to need to replace those turbochargers. And when you do, it's not cheap. It can be very, very expensive. You're looking at anywhere between $3,000 or more to get a turbocharger replaced. And some cars even come with two of them. And like our son's F-150, he has a pickup truck, big pickup truck, has a four-seat pickup truck, extended cab, and it has a 2.7-liter four-cylinder engine in there. But it has a two turbochargers running it. And as soon as I found out that's what he bought, I said, okay, we need to talk. Because that can be a very expensive repair if he needs to do it. And I sat him down and sent him a couple of videos that I have, and said, you got to do certain things with it to take care of it unless you want to buy replacements for those turbochargers. Anyway, I know that Tony has one. They mentioned that before we got on the air today, and I think Bernie said his wife's vehicle has a turbocharger. So I think you guys need to pay some attention. And then for those who, well, you just don't think about it when you buy a vehicle, you're going to be probably sold a vehicle in the next little while that has one. And, you better know some things before you buy that turbocharged engine, because again, I know they need extra care. Even when you're driving them, they need extra care because, well, they're susceptible to problems. That turbocharger, by the way, spins anywhere between, well, 80,000 to over 200,000 RPM. That means if you break that down into seconds, it's about 3,000 revolutions per second at times. And you can imagine what can go on if that bearing in that turbocharger gets hot. So when they do, they can break down, and when they break down, they can cause all kinds of problems, including, in some cases, they can have parts parts can be taken off. The fins actually can be removed, and it goes into the engine of the car, and then you have a total catastrophe and a replacement of an engine. So be aware of these little issues that can occur. And you just might want to do some more research on turbochargers than the one that's in your car, because different manufacturers use different turbochargers. Some just use oil to lubricate that and cool the bearings in that turbocharger. And some actually use radiator fluid. They actually run rad fluid into the turbocharged bearing area to help cool it down. And as I say, because they get hot. And the reason why I've saved this talk to this time of year is because this is when things go wrong. Why? Because, well, you're starting out with a day like today, and it's mid-20s first thing in the morning. By noon hour, it's 30 degrees Celsius. And, well, you get stuck in traffic going on the Queensway on the way home, and you get late. And what happens is the engine is getting warmer and warmer, and that turbocharger, you're using it because you're in a rush, you're hitting the gas, and then you get home, and the first thing you do is shut it off because you're in a rush. You know, you're late for whatever appointment you had. That's exactly the worst thing you can do. And, well, I have a little video. I have a guy who's been a mechanic for a long time. He's well known on the internet for giving people advice about turbochargers and other things. I use him fairly often. I don't always agree with him, but in this case, I agree 100% with what he's going to talk about in this video. Tony, if you can play the video, and my friend will talk about turbocharged engines.
Today I'm going to show you how you can make your turbocharged car last as long as possible. Now to start with, I am not a fan of turbocharged cars. It rams more air into the engine. It's an expensive thing to make, and it will wear out faster, both the turbocharger itself and the engine itself, from the extra pressure. But that said, there are now millions of turbocharged cars out there because the manufacturers want to make smaller, cheaper engines that can still have some horsepower. You want power, get a V8 engine. But of course, the car manufacturers, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to be able to make a smaller, cheaper 4-cylinder engine, but still have horsepower to make people happy while they're driving down the road. But at the expense of making people happy with a little engine with a turbocharger on it, going to wear out faster. Of course, they kind of like that too, then they'll sell you another one. So you might already own a turbocharged car, or you're going to end up buying one because that's the kind of size you want and gas mileage you want. So today, I'm going to give you tips, real tips, to show you how to make that turbocharged car last as long as possible. Now, it won't last as long as this non-turbo Matrix. These will go 400,000 or 500,000 miles or more. It won't last that long, but you want to make it last as long as possible. So here we go. Number one, use the correct weight oil and change it every 5,000 miles. Right here you can see it says 5W30. Most modern vehicles use a lightweight oil like a 0W20 or even lower. Stick.
If you're thinking of selling your house, want to know how much more you could be getting by using this brand new way to sell? The real estate market is
To that, the turbochargers have to be lubricated correctly. Realize, turbochargers take the gas from your exhaust system, spin a turbine, then the other side is a turbine that compresses air and throws it in the engine. And they will spin anywhere from 80,000 RPMs upwards to 300,000 RPMs in some high-end cars. Guess what both lubricates and cools the turbocharger? The same engine oil that you use in your engine to lubricate and cool down your engine. If you keep dirty oil on, that bell's going to toll for you because it's going to wear out the engine, but it's also going to wear out the turbocharger. It spins so fast. Any dirt is going to ruin it. Now, the next thing you can do to make your turbocharged car last longer, you're probably not going to like, but this is what we always used to do with turbos. If you're driving your turbo car real hard, fast RPMs, right? When you came home, you would sit in the car for 5 minutes with it idling in park. And here's the reason why. If you drive a car real hard and it's all hot, and then you just shut it off, what happens is this. You get what's called a heat soak. You shut the car off, the cooling system is no longer cooling. The oil is no longer flowing through the turbocharger. So it gets what's called a heat soak. The oil that's in your turbocharger can actually do what's called cook. And it can cook and it can break down into sludge, which of course is going to ruin the turbocharger. Like I said, you're not going to like this. Drive hard, then let it idle for 5 minutes before you shut it off, right? Most people aren't going to do that. If you want it to last the longest, that's what you should do. There's an old horse saying, ridden hard and put up wet. And what it means is, you ride the horse real hard and they get all sweaty, right? Well, when you do that with a horse, then you're supposed to take the saddle off, brush it a little, walk it around so the horse can cool down and get the sweat off of him, and then put him in the barn, right? Well, in the case of a turbocharge, if you ride it hard and put it up wet and don't let it cool down a little bit, it will cause problems in the long run. Now, everybody's in a hurry these days. We're probably not going to do that. So, halfway measure, if you are driving your turbocharged car like a maniac, when you know you're 5 minutes away from home, slow down. Start driving at lower speeds. Then there'll be less heat built up in the engine. A little thing like that can make them last a whole bunch longer. They build up too much heat. That's why all the modern cars that are turbocharged, the decent ones at least, have what are called intercoolers. The compressor's compressing air. You know what happens when you compress air? It gets hot. Use a bicycle pump. Grab the pump. You see it gets hot as you pump it, right? Well, they have an intercooler that cools the air before it gets into the engine. Check your intercooler. It's a little radiator, just like the radiator in a car, but it's a radiator for the turbocharging system. Check it. Make sure it's clear. Make sure it isn't covered with bugs or leaves. Or you sucked up plastic bags from the grocery store and it's blocking it up. That's going to destroy a turbocharged system too. So make sure that's all clear and clean and you don't have a problem. Plus, since they're revving higher, the turbine's spinning, you get a little bit more vibration in a turbocharger under the hood. So you want to check the air ducts every once in a while. make sure they're tight and they're not sucking air, and especially if you got an intercooler, they got long tubes. Check all those long tubes on the intercooler and check all the long tubes that go from the turbo back into the engine intake. You don't want them to get loose, or you don't want them to be cracked. Look for little cracks and stuff. You'll end up having problems if you get air leaks. The engine will end up running too lean, and that can burn your pistons out inside your engine. Now, it's all these things you got to do that you didn't used to do, right? You might think, why on earth are they making turbocharged cars? Well, they are, because it's a cheaper way to get power. The number one complaint about these Toyota Matrixes with the 1.8 liter engines is that they're dogs, they're not fast enough, blah, 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 blah. This thing cruises 85 miles an hour, no problem on a highway. I don't know what people are whining about. They want to go faster, I guess. Zips around, it's no problems. But some of these manufacturers coming out with 1.5, 1.3 liter engines, some of them only 3 cylinders. They got no power. And the only way Americans are going to drive them, especially if they're hooked up to an automatic transmission, and 96% of Americans drive automatic transmissions, the only way they're going to have power is by sticking a turbo on them. And guess what happens? Then they wear out faster. And another tip is this. They ram more air in, putting more pressure inside the engine block, right? Make sure you buy the right kind of gas. Now, it's not like it was back in the day when I was young, when all turbocharged cars said only run on premium gasoline, because otherwise they get pre-ignition. They do the rattle, rattle, rattle if you accelerate it high from pre-ignition because they fired too early. Most modern turbos can run fine on just the regular octane pump gas, the regular. You don't need to buy the Supreme. But quite a few of them, if you put the Supreme in, you'll find you get a lot better performance and also get higher gas mileage. Now, that's up to you. If you really want the extra power and you want the added protection of a higher octane gas so your engine doesn't ping, you can use high test gas. But realize this, modern cars are so sophisticated, they've got NOx sensors all over the place. Some of them have a NOx sensor for each single cylinder. If they're 4, they got 4 NOx sensors. If they're 6, they got 6 NOx sensors. So if you do use regular gas, the modern turbo, it generally won't get pre-ignition. It will just lose some power. And of course, the reason for a turbo in the first place is for more power. So if you're getting less power because it retards the ignition when the NOx sensor thinks it's going to be knocking, it kind of defeats the purpose of a turbo in the first place, which is one of the reasons, amongst many, that I'm not a fan of turbos myself. Now, another tip for turbocharged car is to warm up your engine a little before you drive. On a normal car like this normally aspirated Matrix, it just has fuel injectors, no turbo, no GDI, you don't really need to warm them up. But here's the problem with a turbo. A turbocharged car, lubricating and cooling the turbocharger, it takes longer for your oil to warm up than it does your coolant. If it's freezing cold outside, I'd wait 5 minutes. Heck, it's cold outside anyways. You want to turn the heater on, try to warm it up, and it might take more than that for the heat to get to you. But warm it up first, and here's the real kicker. Don't get in and floor it and go screaming off down the road. Drive it conservatively until it warms up. 5-10 minutes before you start really gunning it, because you want that system to be lubricating correctly, be at the correct operating temperature before you start driving like a loony. In a regular car, it really doesn't make all that much difference, but in a turbocharged, you really need to have it warm up somewhat. Now, think race cars, right? What do they do in a race? Before the race, they generally go around the track 2 or 3 times to warm everything up before they go full bore. Think of it that way. You know, I mean, you're not going 200 miles an hour, hopefully, but you need to warm them up a little bit more than a normal car if you want it to last. Now, even with all this, I've never seen a gasoline turbocharged car last as long as the same car with a non-turbo engine in it, right? The only exception to this is big diesel rigs with turbos. Diesel engines are much stronger built than gasoline engines because they go by just pressure ignition. So the engines have much more pressure inside when they ignite the diesel than a gasoline engine does when it ignites the gasoline using the spark plug. So diesel engines are overbuilt. I've seen many 18-wheelers have over 1 million miles on them. Yeah, they'll be burning a little oil then, but they're still going and they're all turbocharged, right? But not gasoline engines. Gasoline is kind of caustic, right? If you get oil mixed with gasoline in your engine. It's going to ruin the bearings and stuff. So unless you're going out and buying a turbocharged diesel car, everything that I just said about turbochargers is true. They won't last as long, they need more maintenance, they're much more expensive to fix. For example, Ford Motor Company even said, well, we expect our turbos to last 100,000 miles. Whoop-de-doo, I expect my car to last 3, 4, 500,000 miles. Not have to buy thousands of dollars of equipment replacing turbos, especially, let's say you got a Ford EcoBoost V6 with twin turbos. You got 2 turbos you gotta buy. And heaven forbid you buy a BMW with twin turbo. I had a customer with one, it was a 6-cylinder twin turbo, both turbos were going out. It was going to be $8,000 to replace them both because they were part of the manifold. You gotta buy the manifold assembly and the turbos together. You're talking about expenses when they age. And the last tip I'm gonna give you about making a turbocharged car running, for as far as it can possibly go, is don't race around like a lunatic all the time. You're going to be tempted because you got a turbo, kicks in, and the engine revs up. Everything wears out faster. The engine, the transmission, the turbos, right? You got too much of a temptation to step on the gas and go faster, which in itself is kind of ironic because on paper, a turbocharged car gets better gas mileage than a non-turbocharged car. But that's on paper, testing on dynos and stuff, right? Paper isn't driving the car, humans are. And when humans have a turbo, they have a tendency to step on the gas more, they feel the turbo kick in and zoom, away they go. So in the real world, turbocharged cars almost always get worse gas mileage than the ratings that they give them because people are driving them, not paper, and people are driving them on real roads, not on dynamometers. I had a brand new 4-cylinder turbo Lexus a couple years ago, took it from Houston to San Antonio and back, put it on eco mode, cruise control, and drove the highway speed. Mind you, the highway speed was 75 miles an hour, but be that as it may. That thing was rated a highway at like 35 miles a gallon. I got like 24. That's cruise control on eco mode. So don't believe the nonsense of better gas mileage of turbos. They don't in the real world. Turbos are for power, not for gas mileage. Only on a dyno are they going to get better gas mileage than a conventional vehicle, because then they're just cruising along. So there you have it. Now, personally, I'd advise you not to buy a turbocharged gasoline American car, especially if it's an automatic transmission in the United States. Too many negatives as far as I'm concerned. Get a car that's got a little bit bigger engine that's going to last longer, especially one like a Toyota, 1.8 liters, they can run forever, right? Now you know what you're dealing with if you're gonna buy a turbocharged car, so hopefully you won't buy one. But if you do, at least now you know how to drive it and make it last as long as possible, considering the limitations of turbochargers. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.
Wow, that guy is so animated. Oh,
Yeah, he's great. Eh? He's
so
great.
he's so passionate. He kind of lost me here and there, but I mean, overall, he does know his stuff. But my God, does he ramble on?
It's a lot of information.
But he's dead on when it comes to turbochargers. They have their place, but if you own one, you do need to take certain precautions, and I agree with 100% of what he said. Both when they're cold, and we do get cold weather here, if you don't remember, February and January.
Yeah.
And more importantly, and he talked about it earlier, and that is about the oil. And make sure you get your oil changed regularly, or even regularly, if I can use that term. Change it often, especially this time of year. If you're getting close to, say, 10,000 kilometers and you have a turbocharged engine, change your oil, because this is the time of year when you're going to have problems. That was, exactly what he said there. You're going to drive it hard, or you're going to be stuck in traffic, and you're going to shut off that engine without idling it. I'm a human being. When I'm in a hurry, I don't think about idling my engine when I get home. But if you do want your turbocharger, Tony, to last longer, and Bernie, your wife's, you're going to tell them, when you've been stuck in traffic, idle that car for at least 5 minutes, because it will get extra hot when you shut that engine down. And well, hey, it's your money. It's maybe your wife wants a newer vehicle. Go
I
ahead,
have a
Tony. What
quick
do you have?
question for you, Sam. So, so as long as you don't hit the gas, the turbocharge doesn't kick in. So if it's under the RPM, then it's just the four-cylinder or whatever car, the engine is going. So when does the turbo kick in? Is it a certain RPM or a certain speed? Like if you anything over 40 kilometers, you hit the turbo, or is it because you can still go highway driving without the turbo, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So it must be a power or an RPM thing that the turbo would kick in.
It's actually a combination of that and vacuum. They run up the most important thing to the computer in the car is a vacuum, and it will sense basically if you put your foot down hard on the gas, it creates a vacuum on the engine, and that will tell the computer to turn on the turbocharger. So it's a combination of speed, but more importantly, vacuum in the engine. And like you said there, if you're driving conservatively, you're not turning your turbo on. There are some drawbacks in not having your turbo turn on for a long time, but I want to get into that. But if you're only using it sparingly to pass somebody or whatever, you
Mhm.
should be fine. It's when people are in a rush and they, like I said, use the turbocharger and the car gets extra hot. That's when you're going to get in trouble. So yeah, conservative driving. You won't be running your turbocharger. It won't be turning on. It gets warm enough because of course it's part of the engine, so it's not going to be cold. Remember that it's going to be still warm like the engine. So the best thing, my advice is like Scotty mentioned there, is idle your car this time of year. You don't have to worry about it in the winter time. It's minus 20 degrees and you get home. It's probably getting cool anyway by the time you get home. But this time of year, we get hot temperatures, and that turbocharger is getting extra warm, and that bearing. That's the secret. The bearing and the basically the seals around the bearing. Bernie, getting close to time.
I have a 9 o'clock meeting, so I'm just gonna. Sorry, Sam. Awesome presentation, smart move. Quote for the day to any entrepreneur: if you want to do it now. If you don't, you're going to regret it. Catherine Cook. Sam, thank you. Sorry, I got to peel and chat with you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Thanks, Will, Sam.
Thanks,
Hey, way
Sam.
to
Have
go,
a great
Sam.
day, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of you
Take
too.
care. Take
Any
care.
other questions?
Yeah.
Certainly let me know.
Sam, I have one more question. If you're stuck in traffic in a hot day, the turbocharge is not on, correct?
It is
If it's
not on
bumper to
unless you're
bumper
pushing it hard,
traffic,
correct?
if it's bumper to bumper traffic, like if it's bumper, like you're only going like you're stuck in traffic, then you come into your home, and even if it is like 40 degrees or really hot, is your turbocharge still needs that time to idle? Oh, it does.
Yes,
Okay.
and I mentioned that it won't be as hot as, of course, if you're pushing it hard, but it'd still be warm. It'd be extra warm, and the reason why is that sleeve basically where the turbocharger where the bearings are, it's very small, and it gets extra warm in there. And when you turn the car off, that oil just sits, and that's what they call cooking the oil, and that's
Okay.
where it deposits and that builds up, and then the turbocharger gets ruined.
Okay. So
So
even if you're not using it, just because it is like so hot outside, because of the heat of the engine, it's going to get the turbocharge also very hot, even though it's not working.
correct,
It's not right.
that is
Okay.
correct,
Okay. So what do you think? A
that is
couple of
correct.
minutes? If you haven't used it and you're in bumper to bumper traffic, you can come home and let it for what do you think? 5 minutes
Yeah,
or
assuming that you're just taking, say, the roads around your neighborhood at speed, the posted
yeah,
speed,
yeah.
you're not in a rush and whatever. Get home, I would idle the car for at least 2 minutes, at least
Okay.
2 minutes,
Okay.
on a hot day like we're having right now. Don't shut it off right away. It's a recipe for disaster down the road.
Okay.
And like I say, and the most important thing is changing your oil, and I would say change it in June, and get through July and August, because if you haven't changed it in the last 6 months, it's not new oil, and that's going to ruin your turbocharger sooner. That's the most important one. If I didn't mention it earlier, make sure you have good fresh oil in it during.
We change it every 8,000. Yeah, we change it every 8,000.
That's
8,000
good. 8,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good, and that's going to help that turbocharger last a while. It's not the outside of the turbocharger. They work fine. It's that bearing, and it's a small shaft that goes through there, and it gets really, really hot. Like I say, even on a day like today, the engine heat transfers into that area, and when you shut the car off, that oil is just sitting there.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I wish we wouldn't. I know they've come out with some manufacturers use radiator fluid to help cool it down, and actually it'll run on after the car shuts off. It's an interesting concept. I agree with it in some cases there, but it makes things more complicated. So many don't, and I don't know if Toyota, I think yours, I don't think it would. It probably just use the engine oil. But
Yeah,
I
it's
lit
just
for at least 2 minutes on a hot day.